Welcome to Anime Explained. Today in our manhwa, we are going to see how a high schooler reveals to be the #1 mercenary in the world. In the start of the manhwa, in a random location, two people are held hostage, and one of them was a soldier who had came to rescue a professor, but ended up being captured, and suddenly the door opens, and another soldier gets thrown, and they were being tortured by the enemy. The door is open again, and then someone knocks the terrorist, and it reveals to be our protagonist, who has come here to help them. They pass tunnels and see the body lying, and the lieutenant was doubtful that how can a single person deal with all of them when suddenly they are met with other enemies. And before anyone's reaction, our protagonist ran to them and defeated both of them by only hands, by which everyone there is shocked. And he skillfully uses a pistol and takes out dozens of them at once. He slides to another tunnel and kills all of them without missing a single shot and giving no time to react. And the lieutenant is amazed by his skills, thinking how monstrous he is. And they finally return to their comrades and lieutenant, thanks to our protagonist, when suddenly our protagonist senses some danger, and his senses were right as a rocket launcher is fired to them. And if blasts, and in the midst of the chaos, our protagonist in no time starts firing and kills them in no time, and our protagonist reveals to be just a high schooler. And after the incident in a classroom, everyone is shocked and amazed by the beauty of the new enrollment of our protagonist, Yoo Jin. While in another class, a girl, Yoo Dayun, is thinking how his brother might be in class as she just enrolled, and some girls are shown simping on the new enrolled kid. Yoo-jin and Yoo Jin's sister show everyone thought that died in a plane crash and was shocked to see him again, and his grandfather was amazed too, and everyone is happy to see him alive after thinking he's dead for 10 years, when suddenly Yoo-yoon is shown being scolded by her other classmates, and we're shown how Yoo Dae-yoon is being bullied by the man, and Noon protects her from the bullies. While Yoo-jin is seated in the back, and while walking to his seats, some scumbags try to make him trip by their legs, but they are shocked how fast Yoo-jin's reaction time as she doesn't trip. Then he intensely stares at the man here. Member show the lieutenant told him to avoid any fights from getting his secret identity of the #1 mercenary will get revealed, so he must avoid fights at every cost. That goes to his seat, and the scumbags think she got scared of them, and he's a weakling. Yoo-jin gets seated beside of Park Young-chan, and Park Young-chang tells him to be careful of the bullies, not knowing how powerful Yoo-jin really is. While the class goes on, Yoo-jin thinks how quiet the place is, and while getting flashbacks of how his life in the battlefield used to be, and how dangerous, how hard his life used to be, and Yoo-jin thinks life so peaceful. After the school ended, Yoo-jin was waiting for his little sister so they could walk home together, and they think how awkward the situation is, as Yoo-jin barely have any memories of his sister and grandfather whom he hasn't seen in 9 years. While walking, Yoo Dae-yoon overhears the bullies talking and spots Yoo Dae-yoon, and they think that Yoo-jin and Yoo Dae-yoon are dating, but she clarifies them, and Ijin asks who they are. Yoo Dae-yoon didn't wanted his brother to get in trouble, so she lies that it's her friends, but the bully abuses her. When one of the bullies caught Yoo-jin starting at him and gets mad and comes to fight Yoo-jin. While Yoo-jin thinks how he must control his strength as a single punch from him is capable of killing a person, but he remembers that the lieutenant told him not to cause any drama, so he ignores him. But the bully threatened Yoo-jin when suddenly her sister apologizes, thinking that she might get her brother beaten. When Yoo-jin sees her little sister's secrete of the man, just a flick of his hand causes great damage to the bully's hand, and Yoo-jin walks to her sister covering her face with his jacket so she doesn't see the skills of her brother while also protecting his identity. Suddenly the bully tries to attack him, but Yoo-jin's skill fully punched him in the face, causing him to fly back and knocking him unconscious, just from a punch, and thought that broke his lieutenant promise of not fighting on his first day. While in a training camp, Lieutenant and his comrade are talking about how Ijin will be fine and is not going to fight anyone as he promised. And after knowing down the first bully, Ijin in no time goes into close combat and punches the other bully so hard he too gets unconscious, and the women gets shocked seeing how powerful Ijin really is and stares at her, scaring her bad, and then his sister called out to him and confused how did got knocked out. And then they decide to go home and ignoring them. While the girl got so scared of how can that instant stare is the same person who looks so innocent, and they head home, and Ijin tells her how he was the one to do that, because they made her scared, and Ijin wants to protect his loved ones. At home, Ijin washes the dishes, helping out his grandfather, and praising the food he made, and his grandfather asked him if there were any problems, but he lied and said no, it was peaceful. At night, Ijin thinks how lucky he is to have his grandfather with him, and falls asleep when suddenly he gets a nightmare of a plane crashing, and his parents trying to protect him in the crash, and he wakes up from his nightmare, breathing heavily, thinking it was a dream. As he heads out, his sister, Yoo had already prepared lunch for him, and she heads to school. While the leader of the bullies gets to know how by a single punch he knocked out two of them, and she gets sacred of him, while the bully's leader said she will take care of him. And in the school, Yoo gets hit by the bully, who takes her to a secretive place and beat her up, and to teach his brother a lesson too. The bully's brother, who is the strongest in the school, is going after Yoo Ijin, and she tries to protest, but gets hit again, and she thinks that because of her, his brother will be hurt, so she rushes to protect him. While in the classroom, the bullies arrive to beat up Yoo Ijin, and the strongest kid arrives there too, and the red-haired dude named Kimso challenges him to a fight, when suddenly her sisters arrives to the class, and Yoo Ijin, seeing her sister beaten and bullied again, couldn't hold back his anger anymore. He starts beating up everyone in his way with no difficulty and knocks out everyone who came, in an instant by which everyone is surprised and shocked seeing how powerful he is, and he goes to beat up Kimso. Kimso lands a kick on Yoo Ijin, but is no match for him, as he easily counters it and punches him, knocking him on the floor, while Yoo Ijin stares at him coldly and kicks him unconscious, shocking everyone in the classroom, and he heads to the female bullies, but gets stopped by his sister, and she finally calms down. Yoo Ijin, while everyone was amazed and shocked how the school's strongest gang got beaten by a single person. Yoo Ijin goes to leave her sister to her classroom, while everyone is still shocked at what just happened. While heading to class, Yoo apologizes for getting his brother in trouble, but Yoo Ijin clarifies her and tells her how he used to live, and how people there don't care about anyone but their family. People sacrifice their life for someone other, and Yoo Ijin then understands what a family really means. And he mentions how his little sister is his family, and he will do anything in his power to protect her. After that, Yoo Ijin heads to his own class, and everyone praises him for his strength and power, and how cool he really is. While in another class, Kim Soo is shocked how his gang got beaten by a single person, and because of the loss, Kim Soo and his sister had a fight, and she heads to her class angrily. And she meets Yoo and she badmouths her that she can't do anything and needs his brother in everything, and tries to bully her verbally, but gets ignored by her, and it enrages her. After class, Yoo is thinking how his brother protected her, and she thinks she can finally go to school without being bullied, and she gets all the flashbacks, how she used to be treated. And then Yoo and his sister walk home while deciding to get some groceries. The female bully gets jealous, seeing how her victim is so happy, and gets an evil idea to destroy her. While shopping at the store, Yoo notices how everyone in the store is admiring how handsome Yoo Ijin is, and asks him if he had any love partner in overseas where he lived for 10 years, not knowing what kind of surroundings he used to live in. Yoo Ijin, too, asks about her sister's love partner, but gets to know she doesn't have one, as she is too busy taking care of his grandfather. At home, Yoo Ijin gets a phone as a gift from his grandfather, and everyone is happy and glad to finally have Yoo Ijin back, while from his new phone, he texts his lieutenant first and informs him that everything is going greatly. In the morning, Yoo rushes for school after preparing dinner. While going, she thinks how everything is going great, and she will finally no longer get bullied, when suddenly she gets kicked by some people, and they start beating her up and forcing her to go karaoke, and Yoo realizes that the masked person is Hee-jin, the bully's head. After they are done, the stuff of the karaoke sees Yoo bleeding and not able to walk. The member insists on calling the cop, but Yoo denies his offer. While at the school, everyone notices how Yu Dayan is absent for the first time while Heejin smiles mercilessly. After school, Yuijin doesn't spot his sister, calling her as he got worried, but she doesn't pick up the phone. As he realizes something isn't right, he calls out for her, asking about her health, and she likes saying she's fine, and Yuijin goes away, but he spots blood stains on Yu Dayan's shoes, and he finally realizes what's going on, and that she again got bullied. After that, we are shown Yuijin treating her sister's wounds, while his sister's lies that she got the injuries by falling down the stairs. And Yuijin insists Yu Dayan on going to hospital, but she refuses, because if she did, it will be revealed that she didn't had a fall from the stairs and got beaten up. And she can't even tell the police about her situation. As in the past, she had called the police, but because of Heejin's connections, she got away even after doing all those crimes, as everyone took Heejin's side because of her powerful connections. And if she tells her grandfather will be in stress and have trouble, so she decides to keep quiet. And after the treatment, Yu Dayan thanks his brother, but Yuijin understands it wasn't a fall and what really had happened, making him furious, and he decides to take his revenge. After that, in a club Kim-soo is shown telling his gang that he wasn't ready and he could have beaten up Eugene, and the gang decides to gang up on him when he isn't prepared and beat them up, catching him off guard. While playing, Kim-soo gets a call from his little sister, and she informs her how she took care of Yu Daeun and she can't do anything about it. While they are talking, we're shown Yuijin walking towards the minful of range, an angel ready to be ate everyone there to a poem. Thanks for watching. If you want to see the second part, please consider subscribing to us and turning the bell notification on to be notified as soon as the next part